actually be eligible for pursuing my degrees in higher education. Isn't that one? These are, I would rather call that the most irrelevant, irrelevant. Yeah, I don't really want to actually be part of them. Can't totally believe it. Don't believe it. Fuck off. I don't fucking need you to believe it. The least thing and the last thing I ever wanted to pursue in my life is their approval and their respect, because I don't really fucking need them. I don't even want to know them. Phenomenon. Phenomenon. That's it. Is that one? Yeah, I can definitely write it. Even auf Deutsch. Phenomenon. Phenomenon. And this is English, and the phenomenon. This is a plural in English. Auf Deutsch. Das Phänomen. Phänomen. Das Phänomen. Okay. And I have to go. 좀 공부하러 가야 됩니다. 하나만 더 풀어볼래? 심심하니까. 좀 바쁘긴 한데. I've been greatly traumatized by these people. He even actually follow me to West Side Market, and even actually, I was really, I was a shaking, literally. I was a shaking to the core. Not just, Amara Walker would be shaking when she actually, reported on the 3 different attacks on the Asian Americans. I was a fucking shaking to the core because he fucking scared the Jesus Christ out of me. I was shuddering to the core when I fucking actually encountered, John fucking Collins, at 5 in the morning. How would I know that what type of motive he might actually have? Think about it. I was constantly, followed by him, even actually to the West Side Market. I still actually remember there would be security camera because he actually overheard when I was actually talking to this clerk who asked me, would you like to actually heat up and would you like to microwave your chicken? I said, not necessarily, that's a fine. Spare yourself from that, why bother? That was what I said. He even actually fucking, mocked my choice of adjectives. I was literally trembling. That was a heck of, a scary incident. I was greatly frightened. I felt very much threatened by that kind of invasive intrusion. Oh, really? Yeah. I'm emotionally very much traumatized whenever I think of him. Oh, don't fucking even actually mention him. I was glued to him, literally, because I was frightened. I was transfixed, as if I spotted something so disgusting. Oh, don't you even actually drop his name, because it just have all my hairs in the body completely standing. Oh. No, I was able to understand it. Don't worry. Oh no, that's really not true. I sold them SAT, writings or SAT readings that contain similar type of philosophical. No, even I've already actually demonstrated the SAT books that has Jean-Jacques Rousseau's articles, and I have actually demonstrated that even at the time I was amazed to understand that I can actually obtain the testimonies by people. It's a really kind of shameful argument. I even actually, when Professor Morrison mentioned the reachable, even at the time I really know what that means. I'm not lying. I still remember that he was actually mentioned visible looking at me, but excuse me, I was aware of what that means. Even actually well before I studied dictionary. What do you mean by that? And you know what? If you ever take the SAT, you're gonna be questioned about the Descartes in nonfiction. You know, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, or even actually, you know, who's that? I mean, I can actually submit all the relevant documents to prove my literacy in that way, because I never actually signed up for English literature in that way, unless that is a prerequisite. I have proven my understanding at a minimum level, and there is no existing evidence to prove that I could not read Descartes. Because you know what, even if that is a case, you know what, Wikipedia would never sufficiently deliver any type of understanding, and I was the one who actually had to written down these essays. Even actually, you know what, printing out the J.S. Store's authoritative voice by the Norman Malcolm. These are really the real philosophers who would never use a shitty language. I was the one who actually printed out his words, and I actually inserted a quotation properly. That means that I wasn't having any idea what I'm actually talking about in this writing. I know I was talking about something, and I know where I was going, and I know what I was talking about. All of a sudden, these bystanders and onlookers all of a sudden storm into my room, and they would have never claimed that I was completely unknown to it. I will submit my SAT scores and the TOEFL reading scores and all the previous history, especially with the written statements, or even actually because I never actually obtained any type of philosophical documents written in Korean or other shitty languages. That means, and the Wikipedia would have never actually sufficient to give a 10 pages long explanation. That means I might have actually read these kind of quotations from somewhere else or written in original language of authors. That means I somehow had any idea how these should actually be composed and what they truly meant. Otherwise, how would I actually, have them interwoven into my writings? That's a real question. Then you must have, greatly wrong to cite or quote to someone else's quotations if you really have no fucking idea what they were talking about. You're greatly missing the points of them. And how would you do that? They have no serious evidence to do that. I will sue them. Because I can actually gather all the history and traces left behind my past behavior, and I will actually have any type of experts to redeem the actual activities and evaluate them. Based upon this assessment, I will go ahead with a lawsuit to have them completely charged with this type of defamation. Otherwise, I will actually harass them by seeking revengeful behavior, by actually setting up on any eavesdropping machine in their houses, so their internal conversation could also be leaked. So they should actually eat tons of humble pies. They should also fill the very definition of a sugarine. Unless you actually allow me to be a German citizen. That's really the only way we can solve this one. I don't know what a spell means. Put me under a spell. As if casting a spell on me. Magical spell on me. I was magnetized to him by his charm, allure, like this, as if I got you under my skin, under my spell. You don't like to read fairy tales? It's really kind of crazy to say that I'm actually different. Because even actually non-fiction writings require this type of understanding. Because vocabulary when I was actually taking the SAT, there was such a thing as a vocabulary questions. You really need to know words. That type of vocabulary, I later actually grasped them. That's a total bullshit. When I was taking the SAT, vocabulary actually, at least takes up the 20 percentile of the entire test scores. If my understanding is correct, vocabulary was rather my forte. It means you really actually understand these simple sentences. Jamie was disappointed. Jamie was disappointed. So she stare into the wall with blank. Like, in this way, you actually have a different or. Well, you need to actually fill it in. You need to understand it. These kind of depictions were given, and you need to find the words. This is what actually takes up at least 20 percentile when I was taking the SAT. That means if I were completely unknown to vocabulary, it's impossible. They are actually making this kind of argument that I just somehow actually know at this moment. Even actually when Professor Morrison mentioned the risible, I was already aware of it. I still remember I made a mistake between imply and implication. Implicate is more like the very bad connotation. Of course, secondary mean has, implying something is a fine. But normally something really negative, like a criminal activity. You know what? How would you even actually? I have as counter evidence to prove that your arguments are nothing but a hoax. Because when I was specifically signing up for SAT, the older version of SAT puts much greater emphasis on vocabulary. So you know what? I still have my books from the old vocabulary, old SAT form. You want to see it? How would you even actually sell this bullshit? I really had to actually do this. Is really the book that I used before I actually went to America. Like this. Based on almost no research, the companies plan to go ahead with the expansion seemed rather arbitrary. You have to actually find that one. Arbitrary, what does it mean? Random or capricious. You know what? You actually think that I somehow later picked up it. You have no evidence to say that. I had to actually do this. If necessary, I would actually like to obtain my original answer sheets. Capricious means, whimsical, whimsical. This actually, would take up this actually plays a very important role. These are really the before not really non-literature, but even if that would be perfectly affected by the non-literary or non-literature works, but still, there are many different, depictions, because even actually, I like this in a luminous orb, the many different words that are related to, how we can illustrate certain phenomena and circumstances. They're all incorporated into the nonfiction because, I occasionally spotted the excerpts or paragraphs from Jean-Jacques Rousseau or even, Descartes. Yeah. And definitely, there's no question about the vocabulary because I was asked to pick up the right one, really. This actually, if you cannot actually build up your vocabulary, then you're going to at least, get many scores off. This is totally indisputable. Oh, you know what? I'm glad I was actually from that generation. No guessing. Really have to be very specific about it. 되게 이상하네요.